Good morning, everyone. I'm just finishing getting set up, and then we'll get the show started. And I'm back, and we're ready. Let me turn down the volume of my computer. Let's switch over and do this thing. So, happy Halloween, everybody! It's another great day, and it looks like it's not going to be snowing all day for us. Good morning, Camel in a Hat. I'm glad you love it. Budget Bob Ross, absolutely. This painting that I have, I actually painted that myself, so it's not just something also that I managed to get. Which, if you zoom in on it, you'll realize how not high quality it is. But I do love Bob Ross, so I wanted to do something in sort of that style. And on top of that, I wanted to do a little bit of generative art today, which is sort of also in the Bob Ross entire theme. Although we're not going to make any happy little trees because I forget the algorithm for generative trees. Plus, I'm still unfamiliar enough with GGEZ to implement that. But GGEZ/GGEZ, we can do a little bit of this ourselves. So talking with Danny Fritz, so he wrote both of these guides. We'll make happy little accidents. Absolutely, definitely. So he made both of these little guides, and so this one was literally just the beginning of that. So we can go through this again, and apparently this other guide, Generative Art, is where like the rest and actually getting things onto the screen are. I also teased him about using single letter variables in there, and he was appropriately chagrined. Is that the right word? Okay, so let's do this. I have a basic empty main RS. I have a pre-compiled GGEZ in here, so it should be a little bit faster. Also, VS Code should be running faster for us because I completely uninstalled it and reinstalled it from the .deb file that Microsoft provides. Apparently, snap installs from Ubuntu's new store are really slow, so I'm not doing those. My Slack is still installed through Snap, and it's taking like over a minute to load. So I think I'm gonna probably try Debian as my next, just going straight to the source. But that's all besides the fact. Okay, so Rust is installed. We have the STL2 crate. We have everything we need. We just need to. Do we have GGEZ installed? We do. Plus, I have Rand. That will be useful later too. Unnamed. Did I ever manage to get Arch installed? So I did get Arch installed, but I wasn't able to get the graphics, sort of the GUI front end set up. It sort of errored out at the very end and didn't go correctly, but we got the actual operating system installed and working. All right, so back to main. Then what we want to do here is, does it say? Oh yeah, extern crate and then use GGEZ and everything in there. So extern crate GGEZ, use GGEZ and everything. Which is going to have functions that are run by GGEZ for us every single frame. And it's running these, I think, around 60 frames per second, maybe a little bit slower, maybe a little bit faster, depending upon the speed of the system. So we'll have, we'll do this next. So Struct State. So I can call this, I might call this game state to make it a little bit more explicit of what we're doing here. And we don't have to have anything inside here right now, but we probably will eventually. So we're going to implement a toupee. Nope, it's apparently it's a hippie wig that I got from Amazon. And but it's for my Halloween costume. Okay, so function update. So we're gonna have, all right, GGEZ event handler. Have you seen the Xorg exploit? I did read a little bit about it, and it's really scary because all it requires is for people to be on the same network as you that have some kind of bad oh no, Xorg. I'm thinking about the system D. Okay, never mind. There's a system D vulnerability and there's an Xorg vulnerability. The complete fun all together, right? So, no, I haven't seen the Xorg one. I've just seen the system D one. Okay, so we need to implement event handler. So I actually want to bring that in. So I use GGEZ. I don't actually know if I want to use GGEZ everything, so we'll bring in event handler, and so implement event handler for game state function. I think this is update first. So function update, we're going to have context. I'm going to keep it underlined for right now, so until we really need it. Also, I think we're going to return a game. So we're going to need to also bring in a game result, which I believe is just off of GGEZ. Let's see. Isn't Xorg designed to be a vulnerability? I don't think exactly that's what they had in mind. Xorg can get you root access with just one command. Oh, that's not good. Wayland is supposed to be replacing the Xorg, so maybe this will sort of hasten that replacement. All right, so let's bring in game. What is it? It's game result here. So use GGEZ game result, and so we're going to return a type game result, and it's actually nothing that we're returning in here. So it's just going to be empty with nothing. It just allows us the ability to essentially do the equivalent of throwing an error. Okay, so we have our function update, and we're not really going to do anything in here, so we're just going to return OK with nothing inside. Unfortunately, I don't have time right now to look at those, but I'll take a look at those later. Okay, so are you happy with this? Method update has a mute self-declaration and a trait, but not in the implementation. So we need interesting that it needs the mute self, and it didn't tell us. Cannot find context in the scope, so I believe that comes with the game result. So we can now destructure this. Yep. All right, so that gives us here. Not all trait items are implemented for here. Missing draw. So now let's get draw in here. So draw is another function that I think we also need to take in mute self. And I'm going to call this underscore context until we end up using it. So update will be run every single frame in order for you to have a function to sort of update the state and mutate the state. Draw will be the function that you're supposed to be drawing things to the screen. So a lot of the actual, all the display will happen here. And this also returns a game result with nothing. And let's just return OK. And absolutely nothing in here. let's go take a look at that tutorial and see where we are. So we've got these, and then the next is we just need to implement our state. So I kind of feel that implement for state that gives us a new one, so it sort of initializes for us, might be a good idea. So let's implement game state, and we're going to have a function new. It's not going to take anything in right now, and it's going to return a new game state. So right now, it's going to be pretty simple. We just return game state, like that. And now we can have our function main. And I don't believe that we're going to return anything at all. So just a function main. And the first thing we want to do is initialize a new state. So let game state equals game state. And we want to run the static function new off of it. Good morning, Juan. Happy Halloween. Okay, so we have our game state here. And the next thing is they want us to run cargo run, but we'll run this at the end because we've actually did this last time, sort of getting through here, and we got the entire system set up. So now we want to get the configuration by creating a conf new. So this is going to be a little bit interesting. So that means we need to pull in use GGEZ conf. And so we'll say let configuration equals conf new. And were we going to pull anything from it? Not exactly. So we just create a blank empty configuration, and then we're also going to get a context, which is going to be so immutable context load from conf, and then we hand in all the things, which means that do we have context? We do. So it's just context load from conf. So that context equals context load from conf. So the game ID. So I believe that this can just be whatever we want. So we're going to call this random walkers. I don't know if it is allowed to have spaces in the name. The author, well, that's going to be me, Berserker. And the default config, well, we already have this here, so we're just going to pass in configuration. And I believe that this returns a result, so we can unwrap this to make sure that we actually get the thing that we want and put that into the context. All right, so we've got that. At this point now, we just want to run event. So event run. We do not have event here, so we can pull that in as well. So event, is it dot run? Double colon, so it's a static function. We have run, we need the context, so context, and the state, so game state. And does this run? This also returns a result, so we'll unwrap this. Mismatch types, expected mutable reference found a struct, so we need to make sure that this is a let mute, and it expects a reference to it, so we need to pass in a reference. How about you? Also a mutable reference to context. So let's make sure that you are a mutable context, and we're passing in a reference to you. Mismatch types. Okay, so expected mutable reference found in struct GGEZ context. Expected. Okay, types. Types differ in mutability. Expected type reference to mutable GGEZ context. Found type just reference to GGE context. Well, I have a mutable here, so I thought it was mutable, but I guess it's not. Let's go take a look at what they had in the instructions here. Let CTX equals reference mute context. That's what it is. So context, the mutable doesn't go here. It goes here. So reference to mutable context. Are you still? And then will you be happy now? RLS still is very slow in this system, so it does make it so that we have to have patience to watch this. But okay, so let's then take a look at our game state. It's the exact same problem. I'm wondering if I can do the same thing here. Basically, we have c equals conf new, so that's the full configuration. I just pass in, oh, the state that's created up here. Yeah, so we need to put the ampersand mute after the equal sign. And that will allow us to just pass this in. Okay, so our entire sort of random walking here is all one page, but let's sort of take a look at how this goes. Let's come back here and run it. So cargo run. And we have an empty game, so everything is sort of working out for us so far. Let's sort of think about what we want here, and also we need to switch over to a new tutorial because we're done with this one. We now have an empty running program. So the next tutorial is going to be this Generative Art tutorial, also written by Danny Fritz. So it's going to be in the exact same style. I can actually just realize this might be a little bit small, so we'll make it a little bit bigger. Okay, so we're going to start with the exact same everything here. But the idea, and if we remember the last time that we tried this, it ended up not working and nothing printed out to the screen. And the reason for that is because we didn't have a single thing to tell it to finally print out to the screen. So let's try getting a circle and putting that inside of the just somewhere in the screen. So apparently there's this graphics circle, and then we give it the context, the fill mode, whether or not we want to be fill or a line. So a line would just be a single line around, or filled is like completely filled in, and where to put it. So let's do that. So graphics circle. So this will be in self. We'll put in. We want. So I think we need to bring that in. Oh, I think it's graphics, isn't it? Oh, it's circle here. So we bring in circle. And now we can just run this. We can just run circle off of it. So here we're going to say, okay, I want a circle. The first thing we want is the context. So we can pass that in. The context, which means we no longer need to have this underscored. We have our draw mode. So this is an enum that's going to have the specific type. And I believe it comes in off of graphics. So we're going to have circle. And I believe we can have, what was this called? Draw mode. So draw mode. Are you not graphics draw mode? You're not going to help me out anymore? That's okay. RLS is being finicky for us. Okay, so mode is draw mode. So now we can just use draw mode, : and let's use fill, so it's not just like filled in and not an outline. A point. So we need to now bring in, I think it's in graphics also, a point to, not points, maybe it's just in here. Point to, that's what we want. Imagine having that hair for real, the cost of shampoo. If I remember correctly, Bob Ross actually permed his hair, which is why it ended up looking like this. He hated taking care of his hair. He felt it distracted from the rest of his life, and so he got it permed so he wouldn't have to do anything with it. Okay, so we have point two, unresolved endpoint, no point two in the route. In the root, are you GZ.2? I guess it's just saying I need to use it. Okay, so point two is going to be the location. So let's do a let location is going to be equal to point two new, and we're going to give it in float numbers, float 32. So we can just say something like 100.0, 100.0. And then in this point, we'll just give it the location. Is that going to make you happier? Okay, apparently not for right now. We'll check the error messages on the official run to see if there is anything there. Okay, so the radius for this F32, let's just make it 10.0. It has to be a float. And tolerance, which I've been told is something to be ignored for right now. And then we run the circle. Now, right now, this won't do anything for us. It'll just sort of appear, it'll draw to the canvas, but it won't actually draw out. And this is what we were missing last time, graphics present. So we're going to need graphics and present. So right under circle, we're going to do present, and then just hand it the context. And let's see if we have, by default, it should be just a white circle. No point two in the root. So this feels a little bit weird because I thought I saw it off of GGEZ. In fact, if I were to use it here, so let's redo this line and try it again. So if I just go GGEZ, is it graphics? Oh, it's graphics point to, isn't it? So graphics point to new 100.0, 100.0. Let's see if this works any better. Yes, I believe you're right, Nika. Yeah, so now it's much happier. So we now know that point to is in graphics, so we can just bring it in here. All right, so now we can just do point to, and let's see if we get our circle this time. And there it is. We have our circle displayed to the screen. So it looks like I had a result that came out of the circle that I didn't use, so we need an unwrap on here. Or actually I can use a question mark because I am returning the game object, a game result, and so it will just sort of forward on the game result that it got back from circle. So now that I get a circle in the screen, it's possible for me to store into the state the location of that circle. So let's now store x, which is going to be an F32, and a y, which is going to be an F32. Which means that when we set a new state, let's actually randomly choose the location of each one of these. So I believe what I can do is for each of these, let's actually just do let x equals, we want to bring in rand. So use extern create rand. And is there, what do I need to use? So use rand random. Let's just use rand random. And then in here, so x equals, it's going to be random. And I think this just gives us take a look at the documentation. It generates a random value using the thread, using the thread local random number generator. Okay, and so I think the idea here is that we need to tell it using turbofish syntax what type of number we want. So it's sort of as easy as it looks, but also sort of not. So we have to use the double colons and then a turbofish syntax and F32. And so this will give us a random number between 0 and 1. Unfortunately, we also need to know what the size and the dimensions are. And this is going to take a little bit of time to go looking for that. I did find it earlier, but I kind of have forgotten where exactly it is. I think it's in context. It might be in graphics. I'm not exactly sure. So I'm going to go ahead and comment this out for just a second to get rid of this error. Oh, I guess it's not going to get rid of the error. I'm going to comment those out too. That will make it happier. Let's come back down here, and we're going to want to pass into new the size of where everything is, which means game state is probably going to have to come near the bottom so we can get at what we're really going for. So we're going to have to get we don't really know what the size is, so let's just try like size width equals, and I think it's going to be context dot, see what we can find. Is there like a window context? There's a conf, default font, event, gamepad, GFX context, that might be it. Let's try that, and then dot, nothing in there, double colon, nothing in there, so that might not be what I want. try this again. Default font, event system, event context, format, print resource as, process event, SDL context. That might be good. Let's try dot. Aha, so now we're going to get more. Maybe video. So I don't really know what I'm going to get here out of this. That's a function. Do we have any documentation? The result is video subsystem. So maybe we need dot dot. Well, this. Ah, okay. So now we can see. So it looks like it's a. We need to unwrap it. Then can I dot colon colon? No, it's not letting us see what we're getting out of this. Let's go to the documentation of GGEZ and see if we can find like the entire width of everything. So I believe we can go to crates.io. GGEZ. Want to go to the documentation. And I wonder if I could just search for width. Like, I want the window width. So text width, image width. So GGZ conf window mode width. Window width. And it's going to be a U32 instead of an F32. Okay. Let's see, how do we get there again? GGZ conf. So the configuration window mode, do I have that? So instead of context, it's configuration. So configuration dot window mode dot, so we have height and width. So we'll do width. And I wonder if I can just make this an as F32 right here. I think, can I use a moved value? Okay, so we don't want to move it. So let's get a reference to it. Casting reference to you. Okay, so let's not cast it right now. Let's just get the U32 in there. Use a moved value here. So configuration window, move width, value used after move. Move occurs because configuration has type GGEZ conf, which does not implement the copy trait. Okay, so there's not, the width might not be, I don't think this is what I want. I think I want to get, there must be another one. I wonder if there's like a function for this that will helpful. Set the default size. I don't want to set the default size. There's min width, min height. Miguel, you're so... Hi, Miguel. Okay, so it doesn't want us to move these, but that's... I want to get them out, so I want to copy them, or I want to just get references to them. So I want this. It's not a tuple, right? It's an actual structure. It looks like that. Is there any other, maybe Windows setup? You guys don't have winter time? We're gonna be, I think time is changing very shortly, and then it's gonna get to that. So I'm not seeing any functions for getting the size of here. We go back on Sunday, yeah, okay. I usually don't pay attention to it until my phone just suddenly changes time. So use a move value here. I don't want to use values after move. Move value occurs because configuration has type GGEZ conf, which does not implement the copy trait. Ah, my mouse does sometimes jump around, which is a little bit weird. Oh, do I need to do that? No, it should be off of this configuration. I'm just sort of sad that it doesn't let me get a reference to it here. So this is a U32, right? I wonder what type of or apparently it was all okay. I just need that. Fine. Let height equals configuration.windowMode.height. I just need to not overthink it. Okay, so I don't know why these are suddenly orange now. I'm used to them being green for unused. Oh, it's also use of moved value. So it's like both red and green at the same time. It's a little bit interesting. I don't want it to be used. I want it to be sort of like an as in reference. So we might have to deal with that. I think there must be a getter somewhere. So GGZ conf window setup. Do I have to go off of like the base of it? So instead of the actual configuration, it's just GGEZ. So let's try that. If I just do GGEZ conf window mode dot, there's height. There's not like a get dimensions. If I just do width, oh, that works. That's happy. So let's do this for, oh no, suddenly it's not again. Expected value found struct GGEZ conf window mode. Yeah, I don't want to create a new one. So I think it really is off the configuration. We'll just have to copy it. Can I clone? I can't clone it. Can I copy it? I can't copy it. I don't think I can get a reference to it either. So let's try using it first. So in our game state, when we create the new game state, we're going to want to take in into here the width, which is going to be an F32, and the height, which is going to be an F32, which then allows us to get this let x equals random F32, and then I just want to multiply this number by the width to sort of scale it up. And I want to do the same thing to the y, so let y equals random F32 times height, and then we're going to return a game state with x and y. And oh, well, suddenly now this is the problem. It says pass in width and height. But of course, we're going to have to cast these because they're the wrong types. So we expected F32, we found U32, so let's now as F32 and as F32. Okay, so apparently VS Code was just yelling at me for no reason. So here we have struct game state has, oh, and I need to undo these. Now we're back to, okay. So use of moved value, configuration window mode width. Move occurs here because configuration has type GGEZ conf, which does not implement the copy trait. So I was hoping that I could just get a reference to it. And then down here, casting a reference U32 as F32. So I wonder if I can cast this as a reference. But I don't think I will because I don't. So I vaguely remember that there was a way for me in the documentation to get a tuple of the width and height. So let's see. Can I just get width? There's graphics font, get width, mode width. How about size? Oh, GGEZ graphics get size. Returns the size of the window in pixels. That's what I want. So GGEZ graphics takes a context and returns a tuple of the size. That's what I want. Okay. So instead of this width and height like this, we're going to say let width height equals, it's going to be, do we have context on its own? GGEZ graphics, we don't. So I think we can do that here. So graphics, pull that in. Then here, we're going to say graphics, colon, I think it's a get size. We're going to hand it the context. And I think that's it. Expected F32 found reference, so now we can change these back to normal. And we should be good again. All right, and this the X and Y are not being used, so now we can change that. So we have our mutable self here. So for our points, instead of new 100 100, we'll use self.x and self.y. So this will now give us a random location. So let's go ahead and run this. Okay, so it randomly loaded down there. Perfect. And this is going to be perfect timing for us. So let's come back to here. During the update, what we're going to want to do is move the X and Y randomly for us. So let's, in here, we have just X and Y. Also, I want to change the size from 10. Let's make it 1, and we'll see whether or not it's visible for us. Made it 0, 1. So up here, let's get a random number. Well, let's first do a random number. Well, yeah, we'll do a random number, and then we'll choose, do we move up, right, left, or down? So first, let random number equals random. We want, we don't really care what this is. So this can be an F32 or it can be really anything. So I'm thinking, what happens if I do like an I32? I'm actually curious about what kind of number this will give us. So if I do random I32, I need colon in here. All right. And at this point, I want to just print line to see what it is that we get. So let's do the random number. And let's rerun our code and see what the random number is. All right, we're going to have to kill this now and take a look at what we got. So this is a very large number. Clearly, like between the different things, I think I'm okay with just an F32, I believe, is between 0 and 1. So if I change this to F, let's just do like a really small number, like an F8. Is there an F8? No, an F, I think I have to do an F32. And this will be a number between 0 and 1, I believe. Those numbers are happy accents. Absolutely they are. So yes, this is a number between 0 and 1 for us. So what I want to do is we'll take this and we'll just do a little if statement in here. So if our random number, if that is greater than 0.75, so a 25% chance, then we want to move it up. So moving it up will be saying self.y minus equals 1. And the reason why it's 1.0, because it's a float, the reason why it's going to be minus equals is because we always start number 0, 0 at the top. So to go upwards, we have to go minus. It's a little bit unintuitive there. And so else if the random number is greater than 0.5, so now we're at the 50% chance, but it's still another 25% chance because if it was above 0.75, it got this y. Let's now move it to the right. So we'll do self.x plus equals 1.0, else if rand number is greater than 0.25, we'll go down now, self.y plus equals 1.0, and finally, otherwise, we know we're having to go left. So self.x minus equals 1.0. So right now we should have a random walker. Let's go ahead and run this again. Yeah, stacking, that's what we found out. Floats have to be F32 or F64. And take a look what we have. You could see this just fine. It's randomly walking around, and it finds it just sort of, we're not clearing the stage each time, so we end up creating kind of like a generative art here. Yeah, sort of like a modern art. It's a really cool thing. Now, there is one sort of negative, which is if the line goes off the top, it will keep on drawing things up off the line. And so that's a potential a fix that if you're going to follow along with this and do your own, that you can implement where if it is no longer on the screen, then either move the entire point to another section of the screen or remove it altogether. Danny, you're here. I know this one is moving significantly faster. Another thing that we could do, I'm going to leave this, it's kind of gone off the screen for us, but I'm going to leave this running in the background. Another thing that we can do is we can put the create a walker as a structure itself. Then we can hold a whole bunch of walkers into a vector in game state. Then for each of these, instead of just changing each one, we could change them all, loop through all of the walkers, change them, and then in draw, just loop through all the walkers and draw them. And that would allow us to have many, many walkers on the screen at the same time. We could have colors be separated. This allows us to have lots of generative art. Woodworm Simulator 2018, yes. But I've run out of time, so I'm not going to be able to implement those today. But I wanted this to be sort of like a fun doing some art today. And then also I'm going to put this up on YouTube because it's a good tutorial for how to get GGEZ set up and get something running on the screen. So I think altogether this is a really fun game engine to use. I can see making actual games with it, but I can also see just making art and having fun with that too. And we might end up doing that in future streams as we sort of play around with GGEZ and what we can do with it. So with that, it's 8 o'clock, so I am going to get ready to go to work. And where's the stream ending is over here. Thank you everybody for stopping by and watching. It's been a lot of fun creating this art, and I hope that you all have a great rest of your day and make plenty of happy little accidents, learn from them, and improve. I will be streaming. I'll be streaming tomorrow morning at the normal 7 a.m. Mountain Time, unless of course I end up staying up way too late with trick-or-treaters. This is the first time I'm in an area where I'm probably going to get trick-or-treaters, so I actually don't know. So pay attention to Twitter to see what the schedule is going to be. And with that, I'll let you all have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you next time.